Have you ever bitten into a tomato that's mushy and tasteless, or wondered why your potatoes taste oddly sweet, even though you stored them properly in the fridge? You're not alone. Most of us assume the refrigerator is a magic box that keeps everything fresh. But here's the kicker. Refrigerating certain foods can ruin their flavor, texture, and even make them harmful to eat. For Americans, especially seniors or anyone who loves good food, this is a game changer you didn't know you needed. Stick with me, because this video could save your meals, your health, and your wallet. I'm here to reveal 10 everyday foods you should never store in the fridge, why they don't belong there, and how to keep them fresh the right way, using simple, American-style tips with measurements you'll recognize. You'll discover surprising culprits that lose their juicy goodness in the cold, plus a few that could quietly turn risky if you're not careful. Beyond better-tasting meals, you'll learn how these small tweaks can cut grocery waste, stretch your dollars, and even boost your well-being, crucial for older adults or anyone juggling a busy life. Watch until the end, because the final tip is one almost everyone overlooks, and it could transform how you enjoy food every day. Curious yet? Let's dive in. You won't want to miss how these easy changes can make a big difference in your kitchen and beyond. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Why proper food storage matters for seniors. Why does proper food storage matter for seniors? Let me tell you about my dear friend Margaret, who's in her early 70s and has always had a love for cooking. Whenever her grandchildren come over, she takes such joy in preparing meals for them. It brings her so much happiness to see their faces light up when they taste the dishes she's carefully made for them. But one day, something happened that left her feeling discouraged. She had prepared a delicious salad with fresh, juicy tomatoes, full of flavor and color. But when her grandson bit into the salad, he immediately frowned and asked, "Grandma, why are the tomatoes so mushy?" Margaret was taken aback. She had just bought them a few days ago and had stored them in the fridge, thinking that would keep them fresh for longer. Little did she know, the cold of the fridge had ruined the texture and flavor of the tomatoes. This seemingly small mistake deeply affected Margaret. She had done what she thought was the best thing to keep her food fresh, but it didn't turn out the way she had hoped. It wasn't just about the dish. It made her feel like she wasn't offering her family the very best. And as much as we want to take care of our loved ones, those kinds of moments can be hard. For seniors like Margaret, and all of us over 60, proper food storage goes far beyond just keeping food from going bad. It's about keeping the essence of the food intact. The taste, the texture, the nutrients. When we store food improperly, we not only risk losing its freshness, but we can also open ourselves up to health problems. As we age, our immune systems naturally weaken, and we become more vulnerable to foodborne illnesses. We become more sensitive to the smallest of mistakes, like refrigerating something that shouldn't be or leaving food out for too long. These mistakes, which may seem insignificant, can bring about unnecessary health risks. But it's not just about health, it's also about how we value the food we consume. Growing up, many of us were taught not to waste food. Wasting food just wasn't an option, especially when resources were harder to come by. And that lesson is still with us today. Proper food storage helps us make the most of our groceries. It saves us trips to the store, it keeps us from overspending on replacements, and most importantly, it helps us waste less food. Think about it. Instead of putting bread in the fridge, which dries it out, you can store it in a bread box or freeze it if you won't eat it in time. These little changes may seem minor, but they can make a significant impact on our daily lives. But let's not forget the true joy that comes from eating fresh food. There's nothing quite like the pleasure of biting into something that tastes as good as the day you bought it. When we store our food properly, we don't just preserve its shelf life. We preserve the magic of the flavor, the aroma, and the nutrients that make each meal so special. Food is one of life's greatest pleasures, and as we age, we deserve to savor it at its finest. We shouldn't have to settle for meals that lack the vibrancy they should have. So, as we explore the foods that shouldn't be stored in the fridge, let's keep in mind how these simple tips can help us stay healthier, save money, and most importantly, elevate our everyday meals. After all, we deserve the best. Number 2. Foods that lose flavor and texture in the fridge. Let's be honest, there's nothing more disheartening than taking a bite into a once perfect tomato, only to find that it's lost its vibrant, juicy flavor, or slicing into a loaf of bread that's turned into a sad, dry, crumbly mess. It feels like a betrayal of your taste buds, doesn't it? And believe it or not, the refrigerator. Yes, sir, yes, that cold, seemingly harmless place is often to blame for this culinary letdown. We all fall into the habit of tossing everything into the fridge, thinking it's the best way to keep our food fresh, but some items suffer when stored in the cold. Take tomatoes, for example. When you refrigerate them, their texture shifts from tender and juicy to grainy and mealy, and they lose that beautiful, sweet flavor that makes them a joy to eat. It's a shame because there's something about a ripe tomato that brings comfort, whether it's in a sandwich, a salad, or just on its own. Instead of relegating them to the fridge, give them a chance to shine by storing them on the counter in a bowl or basket. There, they'll stay plump, juicy, and ready to burst with flavor when you need them. And then there's bread. Oh, bread. The warm, soft comfort of a fresh loaf can make any day feel special. But here's the heartbreaking truth. Putting your bread in the fridge, thinking it'll help prevent mold, is the quickest way to dry it out. The cold air sucks the moisture right out, leaving you with slices that are tough, crumbly, and far from the soft, chewy perfection you were hoping for. Trust me, I've been there. If you know you won't finish it soon, try freezing it instead. That way, you can preserve its freshness for weeks, and when you need a slice, just defrost it, and it'll feel almost like new. Now, let's talk about potatoes. I don't know about you, but potatoes hold a special place in my heart. They're versatile, comforting, and just downright delicious. But if you store them in the fridge, something strange happens. The cold temperature causes their starches to turn into sugars. This weird transformation gives them an oddly sweet taste and a gritty texture when cooked. It's a complete betrayal of what a potato should be. The trick is to store them in a cool, dark place, like a pantry or cupboard. And here's a little extra tip. Keep them away from onions. If stored together, they spoil much faster, and nobody wants to deal with that. Even fruits like bananas and avocados are better off at room temperature. Refrigerating bananas is a big mistake. You'll find their peels turning black, and the texture becomes mushy, like an overripe mess you're forced to throw away. It's such a frustrating waste. Avocados, too, need some time to ripen before they can be chilled. If you put them in the fridge too soon, they might never soften properly, and you'll be left with a rock-hard avocado when all you wanted was that smooth, creamy goodness. Once they're ripe, sure, throw them in the fridge to extend their shelf life, but don't rush the process. Making these small but impactful changes in how you store your food can have a huge impact on both taste and texture. You'll find that your meals become fresher, more flavorful, and far more satisfying. But there's an even bigger bonus to these tweaks. You'll reduce food waste. No more tossing out flavorless, spoiled food. It's truly heart-wrenching to throw away food that's gone bad because of improper storage. Now that we've covered some simple adjustments that can make a big difference in your kitchen, it's time to dive deeper. In the next section, we'll explore the foods that can become harmful when stored in the fridge. It's crucial to know how improper storage can lead to toxins or other risks, and how to avoid them. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Stay tuned. Number 3. Foods that can become harmful when refrigerated. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment one below to let me know that you are still here with me. Did you know that some foods, which seem harmless at first, can become dangerous if you store them in the refrigerator? It's quite surprising, but it's true. While the fridge is a go-to for keeping many foods fresh, some items simply don't do well in the cold. For older adults, who may already have more sensitive immune systems, it's crucial to be aware of these food storage pitfalls. Trust me, understanding which foods need to stay out of the fridge can make a big difference in both health and taste. Let's take a deeper look at a few surprising examples that might just shock you. First on the list is garlic. We all know how pungent and aromatic garlic can be, but did you know that refrigerating it can make it sprout or even develop a moldy smell? It's not something you'd expect from such a staple in the kitchen, but cold, damp environments are a breeding ground for mold, and garlic is no exception. If garlic is eaten in this state, it could cause digestive upset or worse, making it a potential health risk. Instead of placing it in the fridge, store it in a cool, dry area like a pantry, or even a countertop basket. You can also use a ceramic garlic keeper with ventilation holes to help keep your garlic fresh for weeks on end. I feel that there's nothing more frustrating than opening the fridge and finding your garlic has gone bad when all you wanted was that fresh, bold flavor in your dish. Then there's the humble potato. Potatoes might seem like they'd be fine in the fridge, but they fare much better when stored at room temperature. Refrigerating them can alter their texture, making them taste more starchy and less appealing. But here's the real kicker. The cold temperature increases the risk of acrylamide formation when the potatoes are cooked at high temperatures, like when you're frying or roasting them. Acrylamide is a chemical compound that can be harmful if consumed in large amounts, and that's something I don't think anyone wants in their food. I know how devastating it can be to realize that something as simple as improperly storing potatoes can potentially lead to health risks, especially for older adults, who may be more sensitive to these dangers. Keep your potatoes in a dark, cool, and well-ventilated place, away from the fridge, to preserve their quality and taste. And then there's honey. Yes, honey. It's an age-old remedy for so many things, from soothing sore throats to being the secret ingredient in countless recipes. However, honey doesn't belong in the fridge either. Storing it in cold temperatures can cause it to crystallize and harden, making it impossible to scoop out or use easily. While honey itself is naturally antibacterial and can last for years when stored properly, refrigerating it can reduce its shelf life and usability. It's so frustrating to see a jar of honey sitting in the fridge, only to open it and find it turned into a solid block. I've learned that the best way to preserve honey's natural goodness is by keeping it in a sealed container at room temperature. And believe it or not, even oils like olive oil don't belong in the fridge. While storing oil in the fridge might seem like a good idea to keep it fresh, cold temperatures can cause it to solidify and form unsightly, cloudy clumps. While it's not harmful to consume, it alters the oil's quality, making it harder to use and diminishing its taste. Trust me, a bottle of olive oil turned into a rock-solid mass is not a pleasant sight. Instead, store your oils in a cool, dark cabinet, and they'll stay in perfect condition, ready to enhance your dishes with their rich flavors. Now, let's talk about fruits, like melons and citrus. You might think that storing them in the fridge will keep them fresh longer, but when fruits like these are cut and not properly sealed, they can become a breeding ground for bacteria. The moisture in the fridge can accelerate bacterial growth on the exposed surface, which can lead to foodborne illnesses. I've experienced this firsthand, when I forgot to seal my cut fruit properly and noticed it started to spoil quickly. Always store cut fruits in airtight containers. This simple step can help preserve their freshness, keeping you safe from potential health risks while also maintaining their delicious flavor. By learning how to properly store these foods, you're not only preserving their flavor and quality but also taking control of your health. It's a simple but powerful way to ensure that every meal you make is as safe, healthy, and delicious as possible. As we get older, every little effort to maintain our health counts. And knowing which food should never be stored in the fridge is just one small but significant step we can take toward a healthier life. Now that we've explored some surprising foods that can become harmful when refrigerated, let's dive into something equally important: how to make your food last longer without relying on refrigeration. You might be amazed at just how easy it is to keep your favorite foods fresh with just a few clever storage tips. Let's explore those together, shall we? Number 4. The role of freshness in a healthy diet for seniors. Freshness, in my opinion, is so much more than just a fleeting pleasure for the taste buds. It's about honoring your body with the very best that nature has to offer, and believe me, seniors deserve that more than anyone. As we age, our bodies become more fragile, and it's crucial to fuel them with the most nutrient-dense foods we can find. Fresh, high-quality food does wonders for our overall health, energy, and vitality. When food is fresh, it retains its full complement of natural nutrients, those essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that our bodies so desperately need to stay strong and resilient. To me, it's almost like giving your body a gift every time you eat fresh, wholesome food. Take fruits and vegetables, for example. These are often the shining stars of any senior's diet. When fresh, they're bursting with all the nutrients we need to keep illness at bay and maintain proper bodily function. Think about it. A ripe, freshly picked apple is a powerhouse of vitamin C, fiber, and antioxidants. But when that same apple has been sitting around for weeks, stuffed in a cold fridge, its magic starts to fade. You lose the benefits, the vitality, and the joy it can bring to your body. I've personally experienced the difference when I eat something fresh. There's a noticeable lightness in my body, a sense of well-being that simply isn't there when I consume food that's been sitting on a shelf too long. It's not just about the nutrients either. Fresh food plays a massive role in how our bodies digest and process what we eat. I know firsthand how difficult it can be for seniors to keep their digestion functioning smoothly. As we age, our digestive systems don't work quite as efficiently, and eating overly processed or stale food can add to the struggle, leading to bloating, discomfort, or worse, digestive issues that can leave us feeling drained. On the other hand, fresh, wholesome foods like a crisp salad made with just harvested greens or a handful of perfectly ripe berries feel like a blessing for the body. They're gentle, easy to digest, and filled with fiber, helping our systems stay regular and healthy. The benefits are undeniable. Eating fresh makes me feel vibrant, like my body is working in harmony with what it's consuming. There's also a deeply emotional side to food freshness that I don't think we talk enough about. I've found that fresh food doesn't just nourish my body, it brings me joy. I can't help but smile when I bite into a sweet, juicy peach that's in season, or when I tear into a loaf of bread just out of the oven. It's not just the taste, it's the experience, the pleasure, and the satisfaction that comes with eating something that feels like it was meant for you in that very moment. For seniors especially, who may be struggling with appetite changes or lack of interest in food, the joy of eating something fresh can make all the difference in maintaining a healthy appetite. It's like reminding yourself that food is not only fuel, it's a gift, a moment of connection to the earth and yourself. If you're like me, you probably want to make sure the food you're eating is as fresh as possible. I've found that shopping locally, whether at a farmer's market or a local grocer that emphasizes fresh, seasonal produce, makes a world of difference. Not only does it support local farmers and businesses, but you're also getting food that's far superior in taste and nutrition to what's been sitting in a warehouse for weeks. I'm always amazed by how much better fresh food tastes. It's like tasting the seasons themselves. And for seniors, that extra burst of flavor can make every meal a little more enjoyable, a little more exciting. To me, freshness is a form of self-care. It's about showing up for yourself and your health in the most loving, intentional way possible. When we prioritize fresh food, we're giving ourselves the best chance to thrive, to feel better, and to live our lives with vitality. But as much as freshness nourishes, it also safeguards us. We'll dive into the importance of food safety next. How to protect yourself and your loved ones from potentially harmful foods if they aren't stored correctly. But for now, let's keep embracing the freshness in every bite. It's truly worth it. Number 5. Quick tips for storing food correctly. Storing food the right way isn't as daunting as it might seem. In fact, with just a few simple, mindful steps, you can keep your groceries fresh and flavorful for much longer, while minimizing waste. Trust me, the benefits are worth it. Not only will you save money by extending the life of your food, but you'll also savor meals that taste as if they were just made, delicious and vibrant. And isn't that what we all want? To enjoy every bite, to make the most of the food we work hard to buy and prepare? Let's start with dry goods, such as coffee beans and nuts. These little treasures can make or break your daily routine, but they can also lose their magic if stored incorrectly. Have you ever brewed coffee and felt that rich, tantalizing aroma fill your kitchen, only to be disappointed by the flavor because it's too stale? It's heartbreaking. To keep your coffee beans at their best, invest in airtight containers. A sealed container, tucked away in a cool, dark place, will preserve the beans' full, rich aroma and deep flavor. Similarly, nuts, those crunchy, satisfying snacks we all love, can go rancid or lose their crispness if exposed to the air. Think about how frustrating it is to open a bag of nuts and find them stale. By sealing them tightly and even popping them into the freezer for long-term storage, you'll have fresh, tasty nuts on hand whenever you need them, whether for snacking, baking, or cooking. It's such a small effort for such a huge payoff. Now, let's talk about fruits and vegetables, our vibrant, life-giving food. Bananas, avocados, and citrus fruits are at their best when stored at room temperature. Have you ever accidentally put a banana in the fridge, only to discover its peel has turned a sad, unappetizing black? It's disheartening, isn't it? This happens because the cold messes with the natural ripening process. To keep your fruits at their peak, let them ripen on the counter, and then, if needed, transfer them to the fridge. Avocados, for instance, ripen best at room temperature, and once they're soft, you can pop them in the fridge to extend their freshness. Leafy greens. Oh, how they can wilt so quickly. To preserve their crispness and prevent them from turning into limp, soggy messes, simply wrap them in a damp paper towel and store them in a breathable bag in the fridge. This little trick keeps them fresh and crisp for days, so you can enjoy them in salads and wraps without any of that dreaded wilt. Let's move on to eggs, one of those kitchen staples we can't live without. In the US, eggs should always be refrigerated to avoid the risk of bacterial growth. However, here's a piece of advice that might surprise you. Never store them in the fridge door. The constant opening and closing of the door creates temperature fluctuations, which can reduce the freshness of your eggs. Instead, place them on a middle shelf, where the temperature remains more stable. It's these small details that make all the difference when it comes to keeping your eggs fresh and safe. Another common mistake that can mess with your food storage is overcrowding the fridge. If your fridge is packed to the brim, air can't circulate properly. This means that some of your food might not stay as cool as it should, which accelerates spoilage. We've all been there, right? The fridge that's so full that you can barely fit anything else in. A little organization goes a long way. When your food is easy to see and access, it not only helps keep everything at the right temperature, but also prevents you from forgetting about those leftovers that seem to disappear to the back of the fridge. Trust me, a little organization makes life so much easier, and it keeps your food fresh for longer. And here's one of my favorite tips: labeling and dating your food. This simple habit can make a huge impact. By labeling leftovers or items you've transferred to new containers, like soups or sauces, you can easily keep track of when you store them and make sure they get used before they go bad. It's such an easy step that saves you from having to toss out forgotten, expired food, and it ensures that you always have fresh, tasty options at your fingertips. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. With these quick and simple tips, you'll not only make your groceries last longer, but you'll also be able to savor meals that are fresher, more flavorful, and more enjoyable. It's not just about saving money, it's about embracing the joy of eating good food, knowing that each meal is as satisfying as it can be. In the next section, we'll dive into creative ways to keep food fresh without relying on the fridge. You won't want to miss these practical solutions that make food storage feel effortless and rewarding. Let's take your kitchen game to the next level. Number 6. Common mistakes to avoid in food storage. We've all experienced it. Standing in front of our refrigerator, feeling like we've done everything right to keep our food fresh, only to discover that something's gone wrong. Maybe the fridge feels crammed and chaotic, or perhaps your onions are sprouting at an alarming rate. Don't feel discouraged. These types of mistakes are incredibly common, and trust me, you're not alone in this. I believe most of us have made these blunders at one point or another. But the good news is, with just a few small tweaks, you can easily avoid these pitfalls, ensure your food stays fresh, safe, and delicious, and even feel a sense of pride in how well you manage your food storage. It's about more than just saving money. It's about embracing the joy that comes with taking care of what you've worked hard to bring into your home. One of the biggest missteps that people unknowingly make is overcrowding the fridge. I can't tell you how often I've opened the door to a fridge packed to the brim, everything crammed in there, like it's a game of Tetris. The problem with this is that when cold air can't circulate properly, the temperature inside the fridge becomes uneven, causing some foods to spoil faster than others. And let's be honest, that's the last thing we want when we're trying to keep our groceries fresh. But here's the thing. The fix is so simple. By just organizing your fridge with a little more care, you allow air to flow freely, helping everything cool evenly. I recommend grouping similar items: dairy on one shelf, fruits and vegetables in their drawers, and meats on another, just like creating a little harmony in your fridge. This not only helps cool your food more effectively, but also makes finding what you need so much easier. Imagine the peace of mind that comes with knowing where everything is. Trust me, it makes such a difference. Another common mistake is refrigerating canned foods right after opening them without transferring the leftovers into a proper container. I know it can be tempting to just stick an open can in the fridge and call it a day, but let me tell you, that's a recipe for disaster. The metal of the can can react with the food, causing a change in flavor, and worse yet, it can make the food unsafe to eat. I've learned the hard way that it's much better to take a few seconds to transfer the leftovers into a glass or plastic container with a tight-fitting lid before placing them in the fridge. It's such a small step, but it can make all the difference in maintaining your food's flavor and safety. I truly believe that these little habits show how much we care for ourselves and our loved ones. Caring about the details makes the experience of eating so much more satisfying. Then, there's the often overlooked mistake of storing onions and potatoes together. It's easy to think they belong together. After all, they're both pantry staples that last for a while, right? But here's the thing. Potatoes release moisture and gases that can make onions spoil much faster, and vice versa. I used to make this mistake all the time until I learned that these two should never be stored in the same place. By keeping them separate, potatoes in a cool, dark place and onions somewhere dry and ventilated, you're extending the life of both, keeping them fresh for longer. It's like they each deserve their own space, and once I started treating them that way, I noticed a huge difference. It just feels better knowing that the potatoes and onions are thriving in their ideal environment. Lastly, let's talk about the importance of labeling and organizing your food. I'll admit it. I've found myself digging through the fridge at the last minute, trying to figure out when I bought that carton of milk or how long those leftovers have been sitting there. It's frustrating, and more often than not, I end up wasting food because I couldn't keep track. But I found a simple solution that works wonders: labeling everything. All it takes is a quick note on the container, whether it's a sticky note or a marker to jot down the date, and suddenly, I'm in control. I can easily see what needs to be eaten first and make sure nothing goes to waste. I don't think people realize how empowering this simple habit can be. It makes you feel like you're on top of things, and it brings a level of order to your kitchen that's so satisfying. So, now that you've learned how to avoid these common storage mistakes, just think about how much easier your life will be. Not only will you save money by reducing waste, but you'll also be enjoying meals that are fresher, tastier, and more nutritious. And let's not forget the peace of mind that comes with knowing you're storing your food properly. It's not just about avoiding mistakes. It's about embracing the process of nurturing yourself and your family with the very best that life has to offer. And when we take care of the small things, like how we store our food, we create an environment of abundance, both in our kitchens and in our hearts. Now that you've got these storage tips down, get ready for something even more exciting. In the next section, we'll dive into some creative ways to make your food last longer without relying on the fridge. Trust me, it's going to be fun and full of fresh ideas. Let's keep going. Number 7. How to make food last longer without refrigeration. You might be astounded to realize that many of your favorite foods can stay fresh, vibrant, and full of flavor without ever needing the cool embrace of a refrigerator. In a world where we often rely on modern conveniences, it's empowering to know that with just a few simple tricks, you can extend the life of your ingredients, making them last longer and keeping them as delicious as the day you bought them. It's such a joy to discover these little life hacks that not only make your food last, but also bring a little more beauty and practicality into your home. Let's explore some easy and effective ways to preserve the freshness of your food, and maybe even feel a little more connected to your groceries and the environment in the process. Take herbs, for instance. You know the heartbreaking moment when you buy a bunch of fresh basil, cilantro, or parsley, only to find them wilting and sad just days later? I used to feel frustrated with how quickly they lost their charm. But here's a trick that will change your perspective. Instead of stashing them in a plastic bag or throwing them into the fridge, think of them as delicate flowers that deserve a little extra care. Trim the stems and place them in a glass of water, just like you would a bouquet. It's honestly magical how something so simple can completely transform your kitchen into a more vibrant and inviting space. Cover them loosely with a plastic bag to keep them fresh longer, and within a few days, you'll be amazed at how much better they stay. Not only will you be preserving their flavor, but you'll be adding a pop of green that feels like a tiny reminder of nature's beauty right on your countertop. Then there are root vegetables, those humble, earthy delights like carrots, beets, and radishes that seem to lose their crispness and life so quickly when stored in the fridge. I know the frustration of opening the fridge door only to be greeted by limp, sad vegetables that no longer carry the vibrant crunch they once did. But here's a little secret, passed down from generations before us. Storing these vegetables in sand or sawdust in a cool, dry space, like a pantry or basement, works wonders. It's an age-old trick that doesn't just work, it makes them last for weeks. It's remarkable how a method so simple and rustic can help keep your vegetables fresh, crisp, and full of flavor. And, please, don't forget to remove the leafy tops. Those tops tend to draw moisture from the roots, causing them to spoil far quicker than necessary. It's these little details that make all the difference in ensuring your food stays as fresh as the day you bought it. Now, let's talk about something that touches all of us. The humble loaf of bread. You might not think about it often, but when bread gets stale, it's as if a small piece of joy has left your day. A bread box is one of the best investments you can make for keeping your bread soft, fluffy, and ready to be enjoyed, without the dreaded dryness that creeps in when it's left out in the open. If you know you won't be able to finish an entire loaf in time, slice it up and pop it in the freezer. This little act feels like a gift to your future self. When you pull out just a slice or two, you'll enjoy it as if it were fresh from the bakery, still soft and warm. And let's not forget about fruits like bananas, apples, and citrus. These fruits thrive outside the fridge, where they can ripen naturally, bringing sweetness and flavor that is unparalleled. Bananas, especially, prefer room temperature, and if you separate them from the bunch, they'll last much longer. It's such a simple act, but one that can make your kitchen feel even more inviting, with fresh fruit on display, offering a cheerful burst of color that's hard to resist. Apples and citrus fruits can sit comfortably in a fruit bowl, just waiting for you to grab a refreshing snack. The best part? They don't just taste wonderful, they brighten up your space too. Onions and garlic are next in line, and these pantry staples deserve to be treated with the utmost care. Storing them in a dry, well-ventilated area allows them to stay fresh much longer, saving you from the disappointing sight of sprouting onions or soft, mushy garlic. A simple mesh bag or basket can do wonders to extend their life. And the best part? They add to the rustic charm of your kitchen. Just be mindful to keep them separate from your potatoes, as they tend to spoil faster when stored together. It's small adjustments like this that make all the difference in not only keeping your food fresh but also reducing waste. Something that feels so fulfilling, especially when you consider how much more we can do to preserve the life of our food. By employing these simple and effective storage techniques, you're doing more than just saving money. You're reducing waste, embracing a more sustainable way of living, and ensuring that the food you consume is as flavorful and nourishing as possible. There's something incredibly satisfying about knowing you've made the most of every ingredient, giving it the respect it deserves. And I believe that these little acts of care are not just about preserving food, they're about creating a relationship with what we eat, honoring the hard work that goes into producing these ingredients, and fully enjoying every meal with gratitude and joy. Now that we've explored these incredible ways to keep your food fresh without relying on the refrigerator, it's time to step back and reflect on the bigger picture. How we store food doesn't just benefit our daily lives. It has a profound impact on our health, our wallets, and even the environment. In the next section, let's dive deeper into how these mindful storage practices can positively affect the world around us, making each step we take towards sustainability feel even more rewarding. Let's explore together. Number 8. The environmental and financial benefits of proper food storage. Did you know that storing food properly isn't just a practical tip to save a few extra dollars? It's a powerful way to help both your wallet and the planet. Every time we waste food, it's not only money down the drain, it's also the loss of precious resources that went into growing, transporting, and packaging that food. Think about all the energy, water, and labor it took to get that banana to your kitchen. For seniors on a fixed income, these small habits of learning how to properly store food can be a game changer. It's a way to stretch your budget, yes, but it's also a way to feel like you're doing something meaningful for the environment, something you can truly be proud of. When we store our food the right way, it's not just about saving a few pennies. It's about making every bit count. Picture this. You have a bunch of bananas on the counter instead of putting them in the fridge. The result? They stay perfectly ripe and ready to eat, instead of turning into mushy, black bananas that go straight into the trash. And if they start to over-ripen, freeze them for smoothies or baking. Now, that's money saved and waste avoided. It's almost like giving your food a second chance to shine, even as it nears its prime. But it's not just about the money, it's about efficiency. Proper food storage means fewer trips to the grocery store, and who doesn't love that? When your potatoes, onions, or bread last longer, you're not constantly running out to replace them. Not only does that save you time and energy, but it also cuts down on the environmental cost of transportation. Think about it. Fewer trips mean less fuel burned and less energy used, both your own and the stores. The impact of this small change? It adds up, slowly but surely, contributing to a healthier planet, one small habit at a time. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. And then, there's the pure joy of knowing you've reduced waste. Oh, the satisfaction of using every single bit of food, of feeling empowered to make the most out of what you have instead of throwing it away. Leftover herbs? Turn them into pesto or freeze them in olive oil for later. Stale bread? Transform it into croutons or breadcrumbs. These little acts don't just save money, they give you a sense of pride in your ability to get creative in the kitchen. They make every meal a little more special, a little more thoughtful. And you know what? They make you feel good about the food you're preparing, about the choices you're making, and about the planet. By being mindful of how we store our food, we're not just protecting our wallets. We're contributing to a healthier world for future generations, and that's something we can all be proud of. It's a win-win situation, one that feels good not just in our bank account, but deep in our hearts, too. We've seen how small adjustments can benefit both the environment and our budget, But now, let's take it to the next level with some simple, actionable tips. Let's dive in and take control of our kitchens together. Reflect for a moment on what we've discovered here. Proper food storage isn't just about keeping things neat in your kitchen. It's a reflection of how we can live more consciously. It's about preserving the delicious flavors we love, maintaining our health, saving money, and, perhaps most importantly, protecting the environment. These small changes in how we store food, from putting tomatoes on the counter instead of the fridge, to freezing leftover bread, can ripple outward and make a world of difference. Each step we take, no matter how small, moves us closer to a more sustainable, enjoyable, and peaceful way of living. For older adults, this is especially empowering. These practices offer not just convenience, but control. Control over your kitchen, control over your budget, and a sense of independence that comes from making the most of what you have. It's more than just food. It's about taking ownership of your life, about feeling that quiet pride in the little things. It's about knowing that the choices you make, no matter how small, matter. And don't forget the joy that comes from knowing you're making a difference in the world. Every bit of food you save, every waste you reduce, is another step toward a more sustainable world for future generations. It's a beautiful reminder that the smallest actions can lead to the biggest changes, and that we all have the power to make a difference. Whether it's storing potatoes in a cool, dark place or simply keeping bananas on the counter instead of in the fridge, every thoughtful choice counts. As we wrap up today's video, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've learned. From the simple yet powerful impact of proper food storage to how these small habits can save money, reduce waste, and even help our planet, we've uncovered a treasure trove of benefits. So, what has stood out to you the most? What is one thing you've learned today that you're excited to bring into your daily life? I'd love to hear from you. Please share in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on more tips for a healthier, more fulfilling life. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.